Hello and welcome to today's panel discussion event, which is part of our One RGU Many Nations Week. My name is Bart Grabski and I am Vice President for International. I am from Poland originally and I have been living in Aberdeen for almost 2 years now. I will now pass on to Emma Davidson, who's our moderator, and she can introduce herself and then pass it on to the next member of the panel.
Hi, as Bart said, I'm Emma. So I'm a social work postgrad student and I'm an ally member of the Black Liberation Network. I'm from Scotland and I've lived in the area for most of my life. So I'm excited to kind of hear about everybody's international experiences. Would the other members of the panel like to introduce themselves? Maybe Helen, do you want to go first?
Hi everyone, my name is Helen Ohanusi. I'm Nigerian. I am in my second year postgrad. I'm doing my master's in social work as well. I've been in Aberdeen since last year, September. Yeah, so I'm also the president of the Nigerian Student Society. That's me.
Great. Areej, do you want to go next?
Hi everyone, I'm Raj Rahmani. I'm from Pakistan originally and I moved to Ireland and then I moved to Scotland. So I've had lots of international experiences. I'm in 4th year occupational therapy and I love RGU lots. I'm also a member of the Black Liberation Network and I'm race champion for the union and I'm co-president of the Feminism Society this year.
Great. And Oleg.
Hi everyone, my name's Oleg and I am originally from Poland, but I have lived in Aberdeen for 15 years now. I'm in my first year of pharmacy and I am also the president of RG Dance. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome, thanks everyone. So lots of busy union business then. I guess the first question that we wanted to put to the panel is, why was it that you have decided to study abroad? Does anybody want to come in about your motivations? And if you're planning on staying in Aberdeen or in Scotland after uni? Bart, do you want to go? I think you may be muted.
Oh yeah. I think for me, there was actually multiple of factors why I've decided to study abroad. And one of them was actually British education, which is quite high up and is like highly recommended as a place to study. And I've also always loved traveling and learning about new cultures. And I think after graduating from high school, I kind of decided I want to just put myself out there and, you know, go into deep waters and just see how I find myself in like a different environment. Yeah, thanks.
Great. Areej.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of what Bart said. I think I was the same where Aberdeen, when I came here for my interview for OT, I just really liked campus. I thought it was such a nice city. And it's not that massive of a place. So I think it's like really accessible for anyone coming from a smaller place where I came from like a teeny tiny town. So it was just so nice to be here. I think it's a really like welcoming city as well. And just, yeah, I wanted to put myself out there and OT was #1 in Scotland at RGU. So I was like, you know what, might as well. It's a new experience. Like, I think we all like learn a lot about ourselves and about like well, obviously you're learning for university, but you learn a lot about yourself when you live somewhere abroad and you're on your own. So yeah.
Absolutely. And Helen, did you want to come in on that as well? I think you're muted. There we go.
I'm so sorry. I agree with what Bart and Areej has said. Yeah, one of the reasons why I decided to study abroad is to like get the British education because it's acceptable worldwide, and also to gain a bit of experience, you know, in the social work aspect. And because of the country where I come from, we've really got we are really how will I put it, not so developed in that social work industry. So I decided to come to the UK, most especially to study and gain a little bit of experience in that field. Yeah, and of course I chose Aberdeen and RGU in particular because they have a track record of having international students. They have your reviews for international students and the employability and all that. So yeah, that was why I decided to come to RGU.
Great. Oleg.
Yeah, like for me, obviously, like I've been in like Scotland for quite a number of years now, but I think like what RGU offer is so amazing, and like any sort of university in like the UK offer is amazing because like from the education and the degree that you get, you can literally like you can stay in the city that you studied, but literally the whole world is open to you. So for myself, I don't know if I want to stay in Aberdeen after I graduate, but I know that the doors are open there. And, you know, for myself, I would love to go to a different country to like experience different cultures and like just put my degree to the test in a different country. So I think the doors are always open when you study abroad.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm from Aberdeen, but I also, in my undergrad, had an experience of studying abroad, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody. I went to France and worked there as a language assistant. And I mean, what Arij was saying about learning more about yourself, I think is very, very true. Having to negotiate rent and open bank accounts in another language was a whole other experience for me. I know Helen and Arij, you've kind of already touched on why Aberdeen and why RGU. Bart and Oleg, did you have anything you maybe want to add about what the appeal of Aberdeen maybe was? Bart?
Yeah, so actually for me, one of the main factors of coming to Aberdeen was my course, because I was actually studying at a different university previously, and I wanted to change my course to something that was more business related, but still creative. And there is a public relation course that RGU offers, and that just seemed like a perfect match for me. So I did a bit of research about like Aberdeen as a city, like as a place to live. And I just like this idea of actually like I could see myself being in Aberdeen. So I was like, well, why not just trying it out? And I also feel like the city of Aberdeen is like a perfect size for me, because it's not too big, but it's not too small. You know, we have a lot of things going on. We have a lot of online events right now as well, because you know there's a lot of restrictions, but there is still a lot that city can offer even now. You know, and I think also in Aberdeen it's quite easy to find your way around, you know, and you can make it your home quite easily. So yeah, thanks.
Oleg?
Yeah, so for me, I decided to go to RGU just because after reading like all the reviews and like the student guides, like RGU was one of the top most rated ones, especially for like what I wanted to do. Like their employability moment was like so good, and I was like, well, if I get my degree, I know that I'll be employed. So that's really what like made me choose RGU, because I did have like other unis that I was looking at, but at the end of the day, I get to stay at home and also go to a really well-rated university. So that's why I chose RGU.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. The next question, I'd like to put it to the panel. Could you tell me about your views on cultural diversity at RGU, and also perhaps about any culture shock that you may have experienced coming from where you've been before? Helen.
Okay. For me, I really appreciate the fact that there are just a lot of students from different cultural backgrounds in RGU. I got into RGU and saw a lot of different people. So like I've even met people from some countries that I probably have not even heard the name before. But you know, but when I came, you know, there are just a lot of cultural difference. Like where I come from, I cannot call my lecturer by name, but I got to RGU and my lecturer is like, no, call me Stuart. I'm okay with that, And I'm like, I like even till date, I think I quite still find it difficult to like, call them by their names because I'm like, how would I do it? There are just so many other things like mode of dressing, just so many different things. But it's the shock for me is the part of calling my lecturers by name because I don't think I can do it.
Yeah. And Bart?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to cultural diversity, I think as RGU, like we are proud to have this diverse community. And, one of the examples for that is actually this week and what is happening now. So One RGU, Many Nations. So, it's about not only wanting to be accepting, but it's also about supporting this cultural diversity and, making sure that all these students or staff from diverse backgrounds actually feels confident and comfortable here where they are. Like I personally find everyone here like very accepting, and it kind of makes me want to be where I am right now. And when it comes to like a cultural shock that I have, I can actually relate to what Helen was saying about directing, being like very open and direct with your lecturer, because in Poland, you say always like sir, madam, like you have to be very polite. And I like to be like I like this idea of like being direct and open with the lecturers, but I also think that people are very open here in general, and back home people are more reserved. And so, for example, here, like it's not strange when someone you don't know speaks to you on the street, because people are just being like friendly and they want to know you better, and they want to say, oh, good morning, have a nice day. So that was a shock for me a little bit when I got here. Thanks.
Wow. That's so interesting because I don't know what your experiences were, but I remember watching like American sitcoms in like the late 90s, early noughties, and there was this stereotype of like British people more generally, I guess, but being very stiff upper lip and not being very friendly. So I think it's really interesting for you to say, actually, relatively speaking,
yeah,
pretty friendly.
because I used to live in England, and I think I realized that when I moved to Scotland. I think it's the Scottish people who are quite open. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, that's sort of interesting because I think Aberdeen maybe has less of a reputation for that than other places. But yeah, Scotland is supposed to be quite friendly. Oleg, did you want to come in?
Yeah, so from my perspective, like being part of a club and a society at RGU, there's definitely a lot of diversity like within clubs, and like RGU Sport are really like pushing the fact of like diversity and not excluding anyone. And that is something that I tell all my club members as well. Is like we are all in this together, and we try to include everyone, and we don't like take into consideration your background, your experience in dancing, whatever. It's like you just are welcome to join. And I feel like that is a very strong message, because for some people who are like away from home, like being part of like a club or a society can make them feel a little bit more like, oh my God, this is my like family for a while at uni. So I think it's really important to like have diversity like within like sports clubs as well.
Yeah, it sounds really empowering actually, particularly something like dance, which I imagine can be quite emotional as well, to have that kind of community there.
Yeah, like I've been at RG for 3 years now. I did a previous degree which I switched to pharmacy, but like I've been in dance for 3 years now, and honestly it's like being like a little family. Like we chat about whatever we want. Like if someone needs recommendations for like a good nail salon, like we give it to them. Like if someone needs a good recommendation for a restaurant, like we give it to them. It's like it's honestly like a little family, and like there's such a good diversity of like different cultures, different experiences, and like just coming together and sharing those is amazing.
Brilliant. Did anyone else want to come in on culture shock or cultural? Yes, Reid.
Well, I grew up in Ireland, so I wouldn't say culture shock for me specifically, but the accent, it's like if you meet like a proper Aberdonian person, it's so thick that you're just like, oh my gosh. And I know like from my own experiences on placement and stuff like in Aberdeenshire, it's like quite hard to get your head around sometimes. And Doric as well. I was just like, wow, there's a whole language. I had no idea. So I think like I just was quite like surprised by that. And it like obviously like you get used to it, but it just once you first get here, you're just like, wow, like you wouldn't think that there was such like a specific culture to like such a small city, but there is, which is just makes Aberdeen so unique and RGU so unique to like have your student experience that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both my parents are from different areas of northeast of Scotland, and even between, I mean, that's like a 20-minute drive, really. And even there's differences in the language that would be used to describe different things. And I'm not really from Aberdeen, I'm from north of Aberdeen. So I would say, yes, I recognise differences in the culture of Aberdeen versus the culture of other areas of the northeast of Scotland. So yeah, it is very diverse. The next question, I just wanted to ask about homesickness. If you have experiences of being homesick, and how you've been supported, I guess, through that. Bart?
Yes, so I think as international students, we've all kind of experienced that. But I think the main thing is that you should surround yourself with people and, you know, get involved with different activities like clubs or societies. Just try to keep yourself busy. I think the time when you first arrive to different country or just like a new place in general, it might be hard. It might be like the hardest then. But I think in this new place, you have to try to keep yourself busy because then you don't have really any time to think, oh, I'm homesick. But like one of the things that helps me is like looking at the photos of like my family on my phone, and like on worst day, I just, you know, get some ice cream, watch a movie, and, you know, that always makes me feel better. And looking at the support that we have available, I think at RGU, you are, you know, more than welcome to actually ask for help to anyone, you know, whether it's academic staff or the union staff, you know, even if someone is not able to help you, they will direct you to someone who's, you know, knowledgeable in the area. So then, you know, you don't have to worry, and, you know, there is support in place. You know, some of the groups that are working at RGU are Nightline, we have Res Life, we have peer support, we have a buddy scheme, you know, we have career support, we have counseling, well-being. I don't actually have enough fingers to count them all. We have the inclusion center, we have study support, which includes like academic writing, English and maths. We have the IT facilities and help desk, we have medical services, we have religious support, and we have also visa and immigration advice. So, you know, there is a lot of people there in case you have any questions or worries. Like, you just have to, you know, make this first step and reach out, and there will be definitely someone who will be able to help you or advise. Thanks.
Brilliant. Read.
I would say like from my own experience in terms of homesickness, I was 17 when I moved. So even though I'm not that far away from home and it's only like an hour flight and there's no time difference or anything, I really struggled with homesickness. Like I remember all of first year, I was just like, oh, why am I here? Why am I on my own? And I didn't really meet that many people who like I really gelled with. So I think that it's really, really hard in first year, especially in like times like this, to kind of feel like you're a part of this community. But I would just really encourage people to get involved. Like as soon as I started getting involved in societies and like going to more events, I like found people who I really like vibed with, I guess. And just like everyone was going through the same thing. And it just makes you realize that like everyone's going through, uni like the same as you, and everyone struggles with homesickness. And I would really like encourage people to like use Nightline as a resource as well, because they have like a chat service as well, and it's all anonymous. So like honestly, whatever you're worried about, there's people there to listen, and there's people there to support you. And like, don't worry about it. Like, you will like overcome it, and it will still come back. But like Bart was saying, like photographs, movies, like even just video calling and making sure you have time set up every week to like check in with the people you love the most. Like, I think that all really helps. And the more like time you spend in Aberdeen, the more it'll feel like a second home. Or like the more time you spend like engaging with like Aberdeen things, it'll feel like a really like a massive sense of community. I know from my own experience, like it does feel like a second home in like 3 years. So that says a lot.
Wow. Yeah. Helen, did you want to add on to that?
Yeah, for me, basically, initially when I came, I was homesick, being that I was coming from a very far place. And, the first few weeks, was a bit hard, but just like Arich said, I got myself busy. I joined societies. I, like the international committee. I joined the Nigerian society as well. So I was able to like meet people, interact with people, and of course, church, where I worship, I met a lot of people, and I was able to get support. And of course, thanks to social media and the internet and everything, I was still like getting in touch with my family, still like talk, video calls and stuff. So basically, just like what Arich just said, a very good way to overcome homesickness is just by getting involved in other activities. It might not necessarily be only academic activities. It could be other activities, that could keep you busy and help you meet other people. Because, the more people you meet, the more at home you feel. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's so important to have that sense of community. It's interesting what you said about social media as well, because I think maybe the current situation means a lot of socializing is happening over kind of channels like this, whether you live in the same country as somebody or not. I had like Skype calls with friends who literally lived down the street early on in the lockdown. So it's interesting. Oleg, I know you've kind of been settled here longer, but was there anything that you wanted to say about homesickness?
Yeah, so obviously since I'm studying RG in my hometown, I do live like with my parents, so I have no issues with homesickness.
Yeah.
But like the one thing I would say is like, as on top of like all the amazing services that RG have, you also have like your personal tutor, which like you can go to as well, because like you're probably spending a lot more time with them than like all the other support services. So you might be more comfortable in speaking to them, and obviously they can point you to like the correct like help that's necessary. And also within each single sports club, there is a wellness ambassador that is there to just chat about whatever if you're struggling. And again, they can advise you on like the places to go to as well. So there is a lot of help available. So all you need to just do is just literally ask.
Brilliant. The next question is about education. So I know you've kind of touched on some cultural differences, but does anybody have any thoughts about how you found education in the UK? Any differences with teaching, assignments, anything you weren't expecting? Oleg, did you want to come in?
Yeah, so when I left Poland, I was still really young, but like the one thing that I found when I came and started studying in like Scotland is that the whole education structure is quite relaxed, and it's like you've got time to like socialize and like meet up with friends, like just a lot of time for yourself as well as studying. And when I transitioned from like secondary school to university, I was just expecting this huge workload to suddenly increase, but I found that I have time to do all that work, but also I have time to socialize. So definitely the British way of learning and teaching is definitely a lot of relaxed, and also it's like there's a lot of interaction between people and teacher, so you're never left alone. And like my mom just keeps saying like, oh my God, when she was younger in Poland, it's like, you know, you were stuck doing all this work, like you barely had any time, you know, like barely any help. So it's just, I just find that it's so relaxing and it's quite enjoyable as well, because, you know, they make it fun. So it's not just like you sit down, you do like 60 maths problems. It's like they actually make it fun.
I don't know, maybe that's fun for somebody, not for me, certainly. Bart?
Yeah, so for me, I'm actually studying at the School of Cultural and Creative Business. So we don't actually get any exams there. We have only assignments and projects. So that makes me very happy because, you know, I am not the exam person. Like I just can't do exams. So we actually have a lot of live projects, which I enjoy. And I think that's something different, something that you don't really get as much in Poland. And I think, you know, all the lecturers are always like very approachable, you know, happy to help you and, you know, support you during your studies, which is great. And I think it's something that Oleg mentioned earlier, you know, about your personal tutor. I think it's important that you have this person assigned to you and, you know, you can always talk to them about anything. And it's important that, you know, you can raise with them even some matters that are not academic related. So I think it's actually really good that university here recognizes that, you know, in order to keep you like your grades high, like you have to be well, like overall, and like they care about your mental health as well. So I think this is, you know, this is something that other universities like abroad should like incorporate within their like structures, because I think that actually adds a lot of value, and I think it actually shows that university really cares about their students. Thanks.
Helen, did you want to come in on that as well?
Yeah, initially I had, it was a bit difficult because the way we're being taught in Nigeria is very, very different from the way we're being taught here. But the good thing about it is that if RG has study skills, they really helped me because the way we write our essays in Nigeria is very, very different from the way, you know, it's written here. So I had to go to study skills, attended some of their lectures on some essay writing topics and stuff. So that was really like what really helped me. And the lecturers here are very approachable. They always want to help. They're always there to like assist and support you. You know, that's just one good thing about it, because where I come from, it's just the lecturer just comes in, delivers his lecture and goes. You don't even see the lecturer again until, you know. But here they send you emails, ask you how you're doing. You know, it's really like comforting. And now I know why a lot of Nigerians come here, study and graduate with distinctions, with flying colors, because it's easier here. And you know, the lecturers make everything easy for you, and you study with a lot of convenience. The classes are so comfortable. Like where I come from, you know, it's not as comfortable. But yeah, that's it.
Great. Reid, I don't know if you had anything to add there or no?
I think it's just the same thing as Helen. Like, there's a lot more support. Like, now that Helen said it, yeah, actually, I don't think lecturers in Ireland are as approachable. Like, I don't know, because I've never like studied university there. But I think like, yeah, they do really try to show that they're on your side, and they are really like not trying to make it tricky for you. They're really just there to support you as much as you can. And honestly, if it wasn't for study skills in first year, I don't know if I would have passed. I don't think I would have. Like, it's just such an amazing resource. Like, it's really good that RGU has it.
Brilliant. Bart, did you want to come in on that as well?
Yeah, actually, Emma, I have a question to you. Like, how would you compare, you know, being in France and being in UK? What was the difference there?
Oh, goodness. Well, one
I
difference.
put you on the spot there, sorry.
One difference, the first thing that's come to mind is that the school I was working in, there was a day where the new Beaujolais wine came out, and they were all drinking it in the staff room at lunch. And at the end of term, they also had alcohol in the staff room at lunch, which was a big culture shock for me, because I'm pretty sure it's written into most public sector contracts that you're not supposed to be drinking alcohol. Maybe that was 2012. I don't know. Maybe France has passed new legislation since. I think culturally there was definitely just things like the way you would greet somebody, like hugging. I think in France is a lot more intimate than it is here, where it's like the kissing on the cheek was more like the way you would greet somebody. For me, that's much more intimate than a hug. But there were just little things like that, I think, that made the difference. I wasn't studying, I was working, so it was, I certainly felt very young. I was 19, and the children teenagers, were only about 4 years younger than me, and I was like with the staff, so that felt a bit strange. But yeah, it was a great experience. Although I think definitely for me the hardest thing was not being able to express myself how I wanted to be able to express myself, because although I'd been studying French for 10 years at that point, I still really struggled to string a sentence together. Like reading fine, writing fine, but actually having a fluent conversation, I would say I barely managed that by the time I left, which was really hard. So yeah, I'm always amazed when somebody is fluent in a language that isn't their mother tongue, because I know how hard it is. Really hard. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, sorry, you did put me on the spot a little bit. I'm totally thrown. I think everybody's kind of touched on this in some way, shape, or form during the panel, but do you have any sort of final thoughts on advice for people who are considering study abroad? Everybody's hand's gone up at once. Bart, Helen, and then Reach.
So an advice from me would be go for it. Like, take the most of the opportunities that are in front of you, and just grab them while you can and just go for it. Because honestly, what's the worst that can happen? Like, you can meet amazing people and have new experiences, and I feel like all experiences are great. They always teach you something. So I would say if you have an opportunity to study abroad, do it. Like I'm actually on exchange right now. I am studying this semester from Canada. I was originally meant to go there, but due to everything that happened with COVID, it wasn't actually possible for me to fly over there. So RGU actually arranged for me an online exchange, which I'm, grateful for, because I still get to learn a little bit about, the Canadian culture and the education system that is there. So I would say, yeah, just if you have an opportunity for study abroad, go for it. Thanks.
Brilliant. Helen?
Okay, my advice would be like to take the opportunity, of course, and be open-minded, open to new things, open to meeting new people, learning a lot about other people, and they should always try to get involved with activities in school, because that's just one of the ways you can learn, and try to make friends with other people from other cultures. Like, don't just come here and look for Nigerians or look for your people to be close with. You can meet other people and learn new stuff and rediscover yourself. Yeah.
Magic. Reach?
Yeah, I would just highlight what Bart and Helen have said as well. Like, I think as well, especially what Helen has said about like going out of like your comfort zone and meeting people from different cultures and different countries. Because even if I think about my own friends here, like I obviously know like quite a lot of Scottish people, I'm friends with them, but most of my friends are international. And I think it teaches you a lot about the world, and it gives you a lot more opportunities and experiences. And yeah, I would just say go for it. Like if you think you can do it, then you can. And when you get here, there's so much support, and it's such a unique experience. And like even just like from my own experience, I'm thinking like after this, like depending on if I stay in Scotland or not, I can say, oh, I lived in Scotland for 4 years, like just casually. Like it's such a cool thing. So definitely, if you can, like if you have the opportunity, definitely do take it. I think it's like such an enriching thing to do.
Amazing. Oleg, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, what I would just add to that is like just grab the opportunity, because not only will you get to learn in a different country, you will also get to like visit that country, which sometimes might not be possible without doing an exchange. So, you know, like if you ever wanted to visit a specific country and you can study there, like it's a bonus. Like you'll be able to go there, because I know sometimes traveling to like different countries can be difficult for like a holiday. So definitely an exchange does, and studying abroad does offer you the opportunity to just visit a country. And I've had a few friends that went abroad for, even if it was just a year, to just do a little exchange there. And they said they loved it, especially just visiting the country and just living there for a year. It was amazing for them. So definitely just go for it. Like don't second guess, like just do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would probably say that living in France, I had the opportunity to travel in a way I probably never would have before. So that was great. Helen, your hand's up. Did you have something else to say? I wasn't sure if it was up intentionally or not. Okay, that's great. So I guess thank you to all members of the panel for coming and sharing your experiences. I feel like I've learned a lot, and probably the number one thing is I should have joined a society as soon as I came to uni. But for everybody watching this, you can learn from my mistakes. The other thing to highlight is the Black Liberation Network have an event on Friday, which is a Netflix party, a screening of a film. So you can go onto social media and the links will be posted, and join us at 4 p.m. on Friday. So there will be a film and then a discussion afterwards where you'll meet lots of lovely people, and hopefully keep making those connections, building that community. So thank you again, everybody.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.